Good evening, and welcome to our Wellness Matters talk this evening with Jean-Luc Roy on how to embrace change and transition to help your relationship grow. My name is Nicole Ingrand, and I'm the owner and director of Rivers Edge Counseling Center. And I don't want to take up too much of your time before our presentation starts, but if you'll bear with me, I just want to share a little bit about the upcoming talks and programs that we have this fall at Rivers Edge. Tonight's talk is the first in our Wellness Matters series for the fall season here. And we have a few more that are already scheduled and coming up. So we have next one later in October on understanding burnout and compassion fatigue. We've got one in November called In Touch with Myself about understanding core emotional needs. And we also have one about exploring well-being and positive psychology. We already have our winter and spring season lined up as well. They're not quite on the website yet, but we've got another 7 or 8 coming in the winter and spring as well. So you're always welcome to join us. There are about 120 recorded sessions on the website as well. So if you look under the blog section, you'll be able to find lots of other great information and talks that you can watch as well. We have some programs and groups that are just about to launch here in the fall. I want to share with you about a few of them. We have a talk about embodying awareness of personal boundaries. This is just a one evening workshop with Robin, a psychologist on our team. But you're able to choose from 2 different dates. So we've got that coming up. We also have one that Sheila is doing, another psychologist on our team, called The Compassionate Road to Building Self-Esteem. People really loved this group. She ran it a couple of times last year, and I think she's got 2 spaces open in that group. And we've got 2 workshops that might interest you. The first workshop is on 2 different evenings, Getting Through the Tough Stuff. And this workshop is with Brittany, and it's about supporting kids and teens through self-harm, suicidal thoughts, other disclosures. So those tougher moments parents, guardians, teachers, and other caregivers experience. And Brittany just has a wonderful way of sharing information and just helping you think about how you can stay engaged with your teen and helpful at what can be a really difficult time. And I'll share one more with you. It's a new one we're really excited about with Candace, strengthening skills, strategies and supports for parents of children on the autism spectrum. Candace did an amazing webinar in the spring that was really well received. And so she's coming back to share a little bit more with us in this workshop format. Those last 2 I shared with you are only $20 each session. All of the workshops, we try really hard to keep the cost down as much as possible to make them accessible. So if you think you might be interested, check them out on our website. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce our facilitator for this evening. Jean-Luc is a provisional psychologist on the Rivers Edge team, and he tends to the mental health needs of, well, couples. Obviously, he chose the topic tonight because he's really passionate about working with couples, and I know that passion will come through. He also really enjoys his work with teens and adults, coming with a variety of different challenges in their life as well. Jean-Luc draws on a number of different modalities, including cognitive behavioral therapy, Gottman, and psychodynamic principles to explore and understand his clients' needs and experiences that have facilitated and contribute to their adversities. His life's experiences have assisted in shaping the demeanor, the knowledge, and the curiosity that he has to best assist a diverse range of people and their equally diverse challenges. From being a university athlete to serving Alberta's industrial pursuits as a journeyman millwright, being faced with as well as overcoming complex interpersonal challenges have been a mainstay throughout his own life. And I can really attest to Jean-Luc being an incredibly compassionate and skilled therapist. And we're really fortunate to have him on our team. really fortunate to hear tonight what he has to share with us about couples. With that, I'm going to just take my own video off. I want you to know that I'm watching the chat if you need anything, technology wise or what have you. And the talk he thinks will be under an hour. So we should have a few minutes at the end for comments, questions, and we'll just check back with you about anything you have to say at that time. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nicole. Okay, I'm just gonna pray the technology works here. Okay, so those of you who are attending in absence of your partner, I want you to know I've made this as easy to understand as possible. I think. I want you to sound like yourselves when you do communicate this to others. Maybe your partner wants to hear it from you, okay? So if you are with your partner, though, I believe we're recording this, so I encourage you to interrupt yourselves for the sake of discussion. Okay. So today, tonight, this evening, we're going to work on embracing change and transition. How can we do this? I have found a good way to do so is to explore the context of the past. Doing so allows us to accomplish and learn a lot about ourselves and our partners. These conversations, I do want you to know, may be difficult. This is to strengthen us and not to fix or save a relationship, okay? These conversations may also signal a need for other conversations. We're going to explore these words on the screen a little bit more so we know exactly what we're talking about. At least I thought we were. Okay, embracing. Embracing the past and those changes and transitions. We may not want to embrace. Our partner may not, which we are going to explore soon too, okay? Let's say we do want to embrace. What is it like and what does it involve? It involves reflection. We want to think about the past. We want to recognize that the past has influenced our path up until now. We want to recognize and reflect that we can learn from our mistakes. Consideration. I want you all to consider that you've been through a lot, but you can handle some more for the sake of your family and for your relationship. Consider that you and your partner are capable of change. You are both capable of growing. Part of embracing will also involve acceptance. We're not looking for flat or blind acceptance of what changed, that she changed, that I changed. She used to be into horror films and now she's into kayaking. I used to be into things other than growing a beard and renting a backhoe to see what it can do. What is important about acceptance is understanding the meaning of the change, what it means to you, what it means to me, and what that change and acceptance means to us. I can embrace when I can understand and accept who you are and who I am. Change, it's inevitable, it's constant, usually unwanted, but it can be needed. Most often, it is unexplored, usually unexplored due to numerous fears. It can be hard to talk about how others have changed as well because they may not understand their own changes. Change was and is sometimes needed just for us, which is okay. Sometimes change was and is needed just for them. That's okay too. Other times it was just for us as a couple. Oftentimes it is for all of us as a family to experience, okay? Often we need help to make and identify the changes that we've gone through in our lives. I do use the example of driving through a snowstorm to describe change. We're not sure how long we're going to be in the storm, but we know a lot is changing quickly: the road conditions, the wind, the snow, the visibility. Do we slow down? Do we stop and wait? Is that our style? Are we looking for lights ahead of us to follow and give us direction? Maybe someone is a bit behind us and they're looking for our lights as a reference point. Do we floor it? Yeehaw. Maybe that sounds like you and yours. The interpretations and expectations for that storm, for that change, will be different based on our personal experiences. Change is experienced subjectively. Maybe a good place to start these conversations is to simply ask, how do you handle storm driving? It can tell a lot about somebody based on how they handle a storm and handle difficult driving. Okay, for our talk tonight, when I say periods of transition, we're referring to common but not definite experiences within a culture or a region. We're talking about adult patterns of likely experiences as we develop. So we move in together, we become parents, we get married, we retire. Those are transition periods, okay? Transition periods will be similar across generational cohorts. So adapting to technology might be different for your parents than it is for you, and then it is for me. It's always changing so rapidly, and we've all had to adapt to that transition. It's similar across genders. Boys become men and then husbands and fathers. Girls become women and then wives and mothers. We could say before parenthood, we partied. We partied so much. I loved it. And then we stopped partying. How was that transition for you? We don't do that social stuff anymore. Transition will signal development and that we are moving forward regardless of our preparedness. We do have the ability to reflect on that progression as well. We did not go through those transition periods alone. We went through it as a society. We went through it with our friends. We could talk to them about it. We went through it with our partner, and we went through it as a family as well. If we go back to the driving example, a transition would be a change in season. Like we're in a different season now. We're in summer. There's less change occurring, and there's fewer factors to affect the change. Okay, context is one of my favorite words. It provides depth and meaning to those changes and transitions. It helps us understand our experience and how others think and feel about the same experience. We can say that my partner and I went through becoming parents, but it'll be subjective as to how we understood it. And we need the context to understand those differences. More is learned about me and more is learned about you when we explore the context. It separates the idea of I like guitars from I like guitars because they help me feel better about my bad day. Now we have some context. The opposite is content, which only answers the what to an experience. Um, okay, so the what to an experience. So when I was in kindergarten, I came home and I was wearing completely different clothes than I went to school with. And my parents, like, they kind of freaked out. Our brains will fill in the gaps with fear thoughts or comforting thoughts to help us make sense of the situation. So one parent went to something bad happened. At some point, my kindergartner was naked at school today. Well, that's not very good. The other parent went to they got muddy or it was paint day or something, and don't worry about it. It's just they gave him new clothes and we'll get brand new washed Northern Getaway clothes tomorrow. I don't know if Northern Getaway was out here, but very nice kids clothing store. What my parents really needed to know, and what we need to know about our partners, is the context, the why behind the experience. So they could freak out about the complete, like, I mean, top to bottom, like shoes, pants, t-shirt, sweater, everything was different. And it was because I like dinosaurs and the other kid liked bears, and my shirt had bears and his had dinosaurs. So we switched. But we didn't stop there. We just switched everything. We're like, why stop at just the bears and the dinosaurs? And we switched everything. So now the context is your kindergartner can be a bit of a ding dong, and that's also part of life. So answering why will help us develop a stronger connection. It will prevent us from using those fear and comfort seeking behaviors and tactics to fill in the gaps in the communication. Without context, we are just stating what happened without actually understanding its effects on you, on me, and our partnership. Oh, whoa. And that concludes our presentation for today. Okay, guys, we do have enough on our plates and we're all quick to add things to the to-do list. I don't want to add pressure to what can be a positive experience for you and your partner. So these are not have-tos or shoulds. This is just one way to consider approaching strengthening your relationship. So let's just consider for now. If any of these considerations are difficult because communication rifts, you experience strong emotions, which I get, or you're experiencing reluctance or your partner's experiencing reluctance, which we're going to look at, you might be motivated to seek brief professional help or other resources just to iron out, these considerations. So first we want to consider, are we curious? Do we want to learn? Do they want to learn? There may be good reasons why we or they are not able to be curious right now. There could be reasons why they can't embrace or reflect on their change and transition periods of the past. Why is this need to know, and why do we need to be curious? How will context help our relationship? What can it provide for us? Knowing why can be motivating for us and our partner. We might want to let them know that talking about these things will benefit them too. We can argue less. We can enjoy our time together more. Overall, though, these talks are for our partnership. They are to better embrace change and transition, let's consider where we have been. We're going to have to do that. Where we have been together, where we have been as individuals, and where we have been as a family. This will help answer where to look and to best grow together, where the curiosity should lie. It answers what we need to embrace to strengthen us. I also do want to provide a brief roadmap. Oh, sorry, I gotta mess with the technology. I want to provide a brief roadmap as to what this can look and feel and sound like so that we know we're on the right path, okay? We must contemplate as well if we can handle this by considering where we are now. We may not be ready as a couple yet. Maybe there are other factors affecting our ability to talk now. I would still encourage you to ingest this information for yourself, for your own personal growth. To understand your own context is not a bad thing. This can be an individual activity as well. So let's just have some fun as we consider what these things can do for ourselves and our partnership. First, we ask, are we curious? We will need to be curious about our contextual past. If we are not curious, we could be avoiding something. We can ask our partner if they are avoiding, and we can tell them if we feel we are avoiding. We don't want to push. We want to ask them and offer them help. We want to ask them for help if we need it. We want to offer the help if they're the ones who need it. Us or our partner, we could be avoiding old pain of unmet needs, regret or guilt for our actions or thoughts about ourselves or our family or you, like our partners. Okay, maybe we're grieving someone or something from the past and it's just too much pain. We could be simply avoiding the reality of a bad memory. I don't remember that time in my life or our lives. I could be afraid to be inaccurate. Maybe that'll cause more issues. If we are concerned about poor memory, we can build the picture together. How do you think I was at that time? How do you think you were? It's okay to do that. As long as you're on the same page, that's the point. Okay, we could be avoiding because we sense the futility of the task of asking. Our partner may not be interested. They may not express curiosity. So now I feel stuck. I would still, as I said, encourage you to be curious about yourself. Maybe you can afford the opportunity to model the confidence of learning, and maybe they will follow. Maybe more help is needed just for them. Maybe we're fearing change. Fearing change can definitely prevent curiosity. It is okay to ask if change is difficult for them, and we need to consider if change is going to be difficult for us. Change that'll come or reflecting on change of the past. Maybe we don't handle change well, so we resist any kind of change. Maybe our partner does this too. Maybe we're stable now, so we don't want to rock the boat, and it's just fingers crossed, good enough for now. The sheer number of unknowns can be very overwhelming too. Maybe we're anticipating only negative change. If so, I would explore the question, what has change meant to you in the past? You know, what makes it difficult now? Why is it all change is going to be negative? It's very possible. Lots of people experience that. If we are curious, we could say that we are seeking something new and perhaps we wish to grow along the way. Maybe we want to feel something new, different, positive. Maybe we just want to learn and grow with our partner. Maybe we want to develop some coupley skills. We want to develop stuff in the bedroom. We want to develop closeness. We want to be a better role model for our kids. Maybe we just have space for more because the kids are gone. Maybe they're in school. Maybe we just have less responsibility for whatever reason. Maybe we retired. Maybe we're seeking new due to change and transition. It might be a good conversation to start and ask each other, why are we curious now? You know, that's a good place to start. Maybe we can form a goal about being curious together. Okay, I'm curious about myself and my partner. Why are we curious together? How is being curious going to help us? Well, I'll tell you. Curiosity about our past and the context of the past can help us plan. Plan for the future. We can plan for my goals. We can plan for your goals. We can plan for our goals. Maybe we need help planning our goals. My goals, your goals affect me, they affect you, and they affect us, and they affect our family. So I want to know your goals, and I want you to know mine. I want to plan for the changes and transitions of the future. I want to know how change and transition in the past has affected you and me and us. Like we said, change and transition, they're inevitable. Maybe we can be more graceful the next time we go through change and transition. Maybe we can aim for fewer challenges. I know how you are during a change. You know how I am. Maybe I can help, or maybe it'll just be helpful to be aware of how we or our partner are during those periods. Plan for conflict. It is also inevitable, okay? We want to understand our factors to the conflict so we can avoid the landmines. I want to know why you yell. I want you to know why I leave. I want to know why we both shut down. I want to be curious and not accusatory as I understand these landmines too. I think we should seek a better way to fight. We all tend to fight to be right, by the way, as humans, just in general. We tend to fight to be right instead of fighting to be understood and heard. So fighting to be right can be toxic. We're going to talk about that too. We want to know so we can adjust. We may want to adjust our values. Are they the same? Are they good enough for now? Are they good for us now at all? Are we demonstrating our values well as a family? What are the kids seeing? And how are they behaving? If we're not living up to our values as individuals or as a family or as a partnership, we can experience a lot of inner conflict, and that will affect us too. The inner conflict is very painful when it comes to, looking at our values. We want to adjust our communication. Before I say anything more about communication, which I'm not saying a lot, it's a huge subject, guys. It's the most common thing that's brought up in any sort of couples therapy is communication, communication. There are so many different resources, professionals, books, podcasts, you name it, talking to people. Communication is something we could spend just a long time on. So just these factors can help adjust our communication. It often needs adjustment. So we want to reflect on past communication issues that were big and that were small. Maybe we want to be spoken to differently now than we did 10 years ago. We want our partner to know that. Maybe I want to be spoken to. You do as well. Communication can often be based on assumptions about how others have thought and felt in the past. So we want to understand so we can adjust the communication for now and for the future. We want to adjust our trajectory. We're sensing a buildup of contempt or distance growing between us. Maybe something's brewing elsewhere. The kids' behavior, their grades are slumping. Maybe we sense a coming storm in external family issues. Like planning, though, adjusting offers a proactive stance versus reactive, and it will help us repel unwanted and unhelpful change. That's a good one. It will help repel unwanted change by being proactive. I want to know so we can grow toward and not apart. I want to nurture our closeness and our trust. I want to feel a partnership and not so alone. I want to feel like we can lean on each other for anything. I want to feel committed. I want to feel your commitment to me too. A fun thing is we can reinforce what makes us us. I want to reinforce what I like or liked about you, and I want your help reinforcing what you like or liked about me. I want to reinforce what brought us together in the first place, and we may just need a reminder of why we fell in love and decided to share this lifetime together. I want to grow toward understanding one another. I want to understand your wants, your needs, and your challenges, and I want you to understand mine. I want to apply this understanding to our interactions so we can make them better and stronger. I don't want to guess that you understand based on my perceptions of the past. Okay, so we're curious. We know why we're curious, but what are we going to be curious about? Too much curiosity in too many directions can be overwhelming, so we want to be kind of accurate, while also kind of broad to begin just to test the waters. We're going to want to look to the periods of change and transition. But which ones? Because there are a lot. We want to start on the next page. We'll start with the larger headings, and that's how I want you guys to approach it too, if you could. Start with the larger headings to probe and explore for curiosity, and then focus on the subheadings to test the waters for the more like pinpointy subjects, okay? Remember, it can be painful looking backward for some of us, so we don't want to push. We don't want to push outside limits. We're going to talk about that too. We want to see what can be handled and where curiosity may lie within ourselves and within our partners. Okay, it will be wise to look back and embrace change and transition around our losses. What have we grieved and who? We maybe lost parents, family, friends, pets. We have shared losses between us, and we have individual losses that could have occurred before we were even together. I want to understand you, and I want to understand my missed opportunities, opportunities to live and be somewhere else, to do something different, follow a different professional path, academic path, whatever it is. Maybe we missed out on experiences, concerts we didn't go see, or trips we never went on. That can be tough to grieve that. We grieve lost time. We grieve wasted time as well. We grieve the time spent earning money that was then wasted. We grieve the time spent in bad friendships and certainly in bad relationships. We can grieve the heck out of those. We can grieve the time we spent in bad jobs where we were mistreated. We can grieve the time wasted on bad goals that weren't for us. Maybe they were somebody else's goals. Again, subjective. Maybe we were in a bad headspace for an extended period or a short period of time, and it prevented growth. So we're grieving that time. We do want to explore the content of what was gained between us as well. We've added to the family with in-laws, maybe not a gain for everyone. We combined friend groups. We gained pets. We became mother and father. And we gain noise with that too. We gain the noise as we gain the kids and the pets. We just noise, noise. We gained in responsibility too. I want to know what it was like for you to take on new responsibilities with work and as a parent. I want you to know what it was like for me to gain those responsibilities and what it's like to handle those responsibilities. We gain status. We have a higher income, perhaps. We have a bigger home or a different home. We got promotions. There's lots of context to genuinely explore in status changes because it can be fun. They're often positive. Parenthood can be a status. Moving into a new neighborhood can be a change in status. We gain stuff. Looking at our garage, are we artists, adrenaline junkies, or are we gardeners? Who knows? COVID, we all collected a lot of things. Who still has their sourdough starter? Our assets affect our shared space, so we maybe need fewer assets. Okay. Maybe it's a little empty and we could afford more assets, more stuff that we can do. Maybe not that just end up in the garage and at a garage sale, but regardless, we purchased vehicles together or individually. We made investments. We bought a house. We want to consider things like, did we pay too much? Do you think we paid too much? You got that funny colored car in the 90s, and I never understood why you got that color. I'm curious now because I feel like your car's running low and you're gonna need new one, and I don't want that color associated with me or the house at all anymore. So the most important thing I want to know is for my partner too is her midlife crisis going to involve a two-seater? Because I do look fantastic in Ferrari red, so I want to anticipate that transition and change so that I can be a part of that change to the Ferrari. Okay. Okay. Okay, big one. We need to consider the changes to our differences. Maybe this is going to be our first time exploring our differences constructively. I want you to know that I can accept our differences politically, socially, economically. I want to know how your perspectives have changed and what the agent of change was so that we can plan, adjust, grow closer, and develop our understanding. Because we are different, we have different needs as well. I want to revisit your needs. Our needs may change at a different rate and to a different degree as we develop. I don't want to waste energy. You don't want to waste energy on old needs, old assumptions about our needs. Are you aware of my new needs? Am I aware of yours? I'd like to be. Our needs often pertain to our goals, and both change. What was it like to hit your goals? What was it like for you to see me hit mine? Did you see me struggle? Because I saw a lot of strength in you accomplishing your goals. Was that accurate that I saw strength at that time? We chase goals differently. How do you chase yours? Again, guys, with this page here, start broad and then narrow in. So ask about losses, gains, and differences. Okay, I want to know. I know why I want to know, and I know when and where I'm looking. How's this going to feel? How's it going to feel for me? How's it going to feel for my partner? How should this feel? I really want to stress that we want to strive to feel certain ways. It can't be all or nothing from the beginning. This is going to take time and practice and exploration. It's going to definitely require your patience and your partners. Uh, Our partners may have different asks and needs from us in order to feel they can embrace the context of those changes and transitions. We want to be aware of those, okay, those differences and the asks and the needs to feel like they can embrace and explore. Okay. Consider that you may want to feel good. You want to feel good physically, you want to feel good emotionally, you want to feel good mentally. Look at good conversations you have with friends and family and consider why it was good. Um, we feel good when we sense curiosity. When we sense curiosity from somebody and for somebody, that's when it can really feel good. Because we want to be comfortable, we want to feel good so we can feel comfortable to sit with the conversation because it's got to feel good for us to want to do it again. Maybe we'll experience some discomfort during the exploration, and maybe the good feeling will come more afterward. Either way, that will allow us to look forward to more. We strive to feel good. Okay. We strive to feel heard, like they're interested. If we're not feeling heard, we can check in. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe they lack curiosity at the moment, but they want to be curious at another time. We want to feel like we are listening, that we are interested, and we need to consider maybe we are the ones that are distracted. Okay. Sorry if this word upsets anybody. I don't know how it could or should, but I could have said connected instead of sexy, but we're animals, and I know you're going to remember the sexy word better, so I'm sticking with it. Sexiness, we'll feel closeness. We'll want to reach out and touch and like embrace, and not all the time, we're not teenagers, but just that genuine, like, I feel closer to you, okay? Maybe we want to hold hands, put hands on each other's laps, sit facing each other, sit closer. We'll feel gratitude after if we feel connected and sexy. We'll feel like I want to thank you, like thank you for that experience. Again, these aren't shoulds or have tos. It just can be part of the experience. You might feel it bubbling up somewhere. Maybe I want to hug you afterwards. Like, oh, that felt good. That conversation felt really good. I want to feel trust. Trust is sexy. It allows us to feel vulnerable and to explore to a deeper meaning and a deeper depth of what we've experienced. With practice, connection and sexiness can feel more natural. Um, and we might end up knowing that they're always listening, even if they don't look like they are. And we can kind of do this on the fly. We can communicate during a task or in the middle of God knows what. We can kind of have these brief conversations of, is this like what happened back then? Yeah, it is. Okay, okay, good. And no eye contact. But again, that's a lot of practice. The connection can feel more natural. Okay. Consider that we may want to avoid feeling or for a partner to feel interrogated. We'll feel like we have to embrace them. We'll feel like if we're the ones feeling interrogated, like they're racing through questions for an answer needed. If we feel interrogated, maybe the initiator is frantic and too much is riding on this conversation, and maybe that needs to be talked about and sorted through, okay? We do not want to feel manipulated. We do not want to feel like our partner has an unknown goal or intention for themselves and this conversation, like they want to be right about something in the past. It will diminish trust. It'll be harder to feel like we can be honest with them if we are feeling manipulated. It'll feel like there's a predetermined conclusion that they're trying to get to. If we feel manipulated, our partner may be seeking to control their own emotions using us. I know control and using are big words, but let's lighten the idea of it. Because many things lead to feeling like we're manipulating or being controlled. We have to consider, is this feeling us? Is it our thoughts and behaviors that are making us feel this way, or is it theirs? Again, it can be touchy. Go at it gracefully, maybe get some help. We certainly do not want to feel attacked, like our partner is unloading their anger and frustrations on us. Maybe that anger is from the relationship, but maybe it's from external sources as well. Could be from work or who knows what, right? That's why we're talking about it. We can ask them not to be angry at us. We can consider, are we angry? I will remind everybody as we talk about this anger. Anger, I consider a secondary emotion. It comes with the result of feeling pain or fear, emotional pain or fear that something bad's going to happen. So when we're exploring anger, we can also use words like pain and fear. We want to consider and explore where that pain is from or when that pain is from. Again, context of the past. We want to explore anger together when we are calm. If it is my anger, I want to take responsibility, and maybe I need to explore it as an individual if I'm not ready to as a partnership yet, or if our partner is not ready to hear that. Okay, if we're struggling to feel good and sexy, If we do feel frantic, manipulated, attacked, and angry, we may want to work on feeling more relaxed physically, more relaxed in our environment, more relaxed to handle the difficulties of the conversation. Maybe we need individual counseling and coping strategies so that we can feel more relaxed. I do need to understand myself before I can relax. So maybe self-exploration is step one in all this. Again, subjective. Do I feel open? Do I feel open to new ideas about myself and my partner? I do want to work on my openness to allow new perspectives of myself and my relationship. That'll be good. Am I allowing space for their perspectives? I got to be aware of the context, that expiration. Sorry, how do I say this? I want to be aware that exploring context can change my view of the past. I'm not saying it'll turn good memories bad, but it can change them a bit. Now that you understand what your partner was thinking and feeling at that time, again, that's where this can be rough. But it can also change a lot of bad memories, and it can change the now issues too. I cannot embrace change and transition at all if I'm not open to the realities of the past. I can also not be vulnerable if I'm not open. I need to be open and vulnerable to tolerable stress, possible frustrations, and the likelihood we are going to disagree. Something like 2/3 of marital conflict are never solved. And the important thing is to understand your partner as opposed to agree. It's better to feel heard and understood sometimes. Maybe being closed off and not open is linked to our personal safety, either with our partner or just in general, and we need more help with that. Okay, how do I strive to sound in order to model what is needed for my partner and I to begin to feel good and connected? To feel heard and that we are actively listening as we attempt to embrace our changes and transitions. How do I recognize if something is amiss with what I am hearing or saying? Am I am I conveying my positive intentions so that you can hear them? And are you doing the same for me? We want to sound curious by asking questions, lots of questions, but that can be handled. We don't want to overwhelm. We want to ask lots of questions if they're into it. We don't just want to bombard them with a million questions. We want to convey a thirst for knowledge, and we want to be excited about what we have learned. Whoa, that's what you experienced. That's what you went through. I had no idea. That's totally different than what I thought. This is great. We want to seek clarity with our curiosity. We want to say things like, help me understand what you were saying. A really good thing is this back and forth too. It's a Gottman thing where I express how I was feeling at a certain time, and then I have you repeat it back to me. And if you don't get it quite what you think I said, your interpretation, and then I'm saying it like saying, no, that's not what I said. And we work on it. We do this back and forth of repeating until it's like, okay, we're on the same page. I get how you felt. Gotcha. It can take some coaching too. It can really be an art to do that back and forth sometimes. Okay. Some people come by it naturally. Don't beat yourselves up if you can't. It's it can be an art. We want patience in our language and our nonverbals, especially when we're the ones listening. We want to uncross our arms. We want to stop fidgeting, rolling around in our chair. We want to stop shifting. We want to stop showing that we're thinking about our own agenda. We want to show that we're okay with disagreement and differences of opinion. If we're not clear and we're not understanding, we want to continue to be curious. We can go with, I don't quite get it, honey, but I want to. Those kinds of statements. Maybe we need to approach the question or the curiosity from another angle. Can you say that again, sweetie, but different? Just say it like that, but like this. Just try it a little different. I'm almost there. When we share, maybe we need to relate some of our experiences to theirs if they don't get us, which is okay. I have a statement here. Maybe I feel similar to you when we were going through this or that change, right? We have parallels in our experiences at different times. We want to use collaborative language as well. Collaborative language. Use we and us talk. We struggle with this challenge, not just you. Because change affects you, it affects me. Let's explore it hand in hand kind of notion. We want to sound together, like these issues aren't just a you thing or just a me thing. We can make it an us thing without either of us trying to fix anything. Fix is another big word. We don't need to fix. Maybe this needs to be a we thing where you or I, just listen. This is for us, this is we, and we need you to listen. Be gentle about using that term. We do not want to sound as though we are demanding, like we need to know, that fast and furious sort of talk. Calmly, slowly, get the message across. Okay. We don't need to force time to talk as though we have to or we must. We ask questions and we encourage when it comes to looking for time. We don't want to sound rigid with this conversation, with saying things like, we are only going to talk about this, or we are only going to talk about that time. We don't want to be so rigid. Be open. We can say things like, I think it would benefit us best at this time to discuss XYZ. What do you think? Sound like you're going to value their input and that you need it a bit. We don't want to sound manipulative. It will turn them off of embracing, as we mentioned. We don't want to offer consequences as part of manipulation. If you don't talk now, then, the or else. That's the ultimatums too. Do this or else. Ultimatums are offering two bad choices. Have this difficult conversation with me that you don't want to have, or else. Ultimatums are rough. Okay, we want to refrain from telling them how they feel or felt at a given time as well. We want to help them find the feeling they were experiencing at that time, but we do not want to prescribe the feeling. We want our curiosity to overlap with their curiosity, and we explore the emotions we are experiencing together. We don't want to sound like everything we say is wrong. We want them to remember, when they remember differently, we don't want to attack them for that. We'll remember things differently. It's not a big problem. We're trying to build the understanding. We don't want to oppose their feelings. No, you didn't feel that way. That's not how you felt. That's not how I think you felt. No, we don't want to oppose. We want to acknowledge their reality. We want to respect no. We want to respect stop, or we're just being oppositional. We want to ask about their limits and we want to communicate our limits. And limits are no-go areas. I'm willing to talk about this chunk. I'm not willing to talk about that chunk just yet. We want to, if there is pitfalls in the language, we might need some working on awareness of our own shortcomings, awareness of the factors that make communication difficult for us or difficult for them. I've said openly, I am not the best at listening sometimes. I assume and I anticipate. I got to stop doing that. So I'm taking ownership of the issues I'm bringing. Confidence can come from this awareness too. We do want to be sure of our feelings when stating them. We want to use less, maybe I feel, perhaps I was like that, especially when we're deep into it with our partner and there's a quick back and forth. We want to avoid sounding sorry for how we felt in the past. That happens too often. We're sorry for how we felt. I say things like, how I felt in the past was introduced to this conversation to be embraced. Okay. I was very sad at that time. I was very angry with you. We want to sound like there's a purpose to our curiosity as well. A good initial purpose is to identify a mutual goal. One I use is, we are both aware we need to talk about the den transitioning to a storage unit. How did we let this happen? So it's us. It's not you filled the den or anything like that. It's we did, and it's up to us to decide what to do with it. Purpose prevents us from being aimless and frantic in our exploration. We want to state our cause for curiosity as well. I want to understand you so we can enjoy our time together more. I don't want to fight as much. This can be good for us. We can state the purpose as a mutual need, because it should be a mutual need. Approaching with purpose demands we understand our own needs and positive desires for our partnership. Okay. Okay. I do hope you're gaining knowledge of all of this, but before you introduce this idea to your relationship, you need to consider where you are currently and if this is for you guys now, if this is for us now. Because a lot can come from these conversations, and because this is not a fix or to save, but it is to strengthen. Maybe we're feeling weaker after a change in transition period. Maybe we're feeling weaker after lots of change in transition periods that have not been embraced yet. We want to recognize that embracing may not be possible at this time. Maybe it's necessary at this time based on where we are now. And embracing the past will help us get unstuck from current issues. Now factors can affect our ability to embrace. We need to consider where we are now. We need to consider where we are now as a family, because these conversations will initially take resources from other areas of life if it's a bit more difficult to get going. But they may not after practice. Very quickly, you may find they don't take as much resources. You need to consider time demands within family. Are you child rearing? Are you taking care of external, out of the home family members or in the home family members? We got to upkeep this house. We have to work to support a family. We may need to work on aligning our schedules to make time for us. We need to look at where we are as a family emotionally. Do we have higher needs children because they're going through something, or there's generally higher needs children? Is it developmental needs? Like a baby is going to need a lot more attention than a 16-year-old. We need to consider that, our children's demands all the time. We need to consider the loss maybe we've been through as a family, pet, grandparents, social losses, like all the stuff going on in the world. Lots of opportunity for young and old to experience loss. We need to consider that. Maybe our kids need us. Have we moved to a new neighborhood or a new town, new job, and it's affecting us? The move is affecting our kids. We're trying to find a good footing before we're ready to talk about these things. Sometimes we simply need to put our masks on first before we can help our family grow and thrive. That's the reality. It's a rough one, but sometimes maybe that's what's needed. We need to consider where we are financially. It's rough, but we have to. Maybe we need professional help and we can't afford it at this time. Maybe we need to talk about aligning benefits and resources. Maybe one of us or both of us need to work more due to financial stress, so we'll have less time together. And we need to seek affordable help, whatever that would look like. Maybe we need books over sessions due to our financial situation. There's also positive changes in finances that could have us talking. Maybe we need to talk about allocation of inheritance, or we have a raise. We can bring more into our life, more fun, more excitement. We need to consider where we are individually. Maybe our physical health is not so good and we can't prioritize any of these conversations. If we're in pain, talking about these emotional things, we may feel them physically in some ways. And the last thing you want to do is talk about this maybe during something really rough, like a cancer scare, a medical procedure. A big one is maybe our partner's in the throes or downs of addiction. Addiction is not great when it comes to couples therapy, and it affects the family, yada yada. We could go on about addiction stuff, but we need to consider that maybe that needs to be addressed first. Maybe it's the perfect time. Maybe your partner has a busted ankle because they were being silly at the lake or something, and maybe they're stuck on the couch and it's like, do you have time to talk? And we'll know if they're full of it. Maybe we're emotionally drained personally due to losses, work, societal pressures. They can come from any direction. Maybe we can say to our partner, maybe I would feel this way regardless of being in this relationship, and it has nothing to do with you or us. Maybe we can say to our partners, you don't have to carry the weight of my emotional state currently. Maybe personally, I don't feel good enough about myself to explore my past mistakes or how you felt about me in the past. I do want to know, I want to be curious, but just maybe I need to work on that. Again, lots of conversations come from these conversations. Maybe we feel great and we're ready to be curious. We want to consider, where are my goals and where are yours? Are we trying to find one? My personal goals are maybe demanding currently. Maybe my personal goals are going to help us down the line, so we should prioritize them. Maybe I just can't focus on us goals. We look at these factors to where we are now to see if we have the ability to examine our contextual history as a couple and determine to what extent we can be curious and embrace the past. More often than not, exploring the past and embracing change and transition will be of benefit. But guys, sometimes things are simply more important than us. Okay, we're getting close to the end. I want us all to take a deep breath and consider once more, are we curious? Can we be? Can they be? How curious are we? How curious are they? Can I or they be more curious? What is my goal with that curiosity? Do I want to fight? Do I want to be right? Do I look to be heard? We want positive intention with a shared meaningful goal. Can we do this as a family and as individuals? Do I have the ability emotionally? Do you? Do we need to work on overall communication first? We really want to consider the need to practice with friends, practice with family, someone we trust. I'm pretty sure With certainty, you're probably doing this already with someone in your life or some people in your life, usually siblings and close friends. We're already exploring context, or we're in a type of relationship with them where we can much more easily explore it, not as much as riding on it. Maybe those people have pointers for us too, where they go, "Oh my God, when you go through change, geez, I don't know how your partner puts up with you." Just, go with those people that we definitely trust and we're definitely comfortable having these conversations with. Explore our own context how we want to. We want to practice slowly, though, and patiently with our partners. We want to practice often if possible, and we want to try to do it consistently. When you find that special little time of the week or the day where you have time to talk, be intentional with that time. Don't wait for that time to just appear. Be intentional with the time. Um, we can practice by exploring our self context of the past. We can consider and ask ourselves, what was it like for me to become a parent? And we can explore that on our own all day if we want. How did it change me and my perspectives to become a parent or try out that new job or move? We can ask ourselves, it's fun, it's okay. We want to practice until we feel the humility. We want to practice until we feel some confidence, and we want to practice until we feel we can handle it emotionally. We want to ask these of our partner too, but not always a guarantee. I consider a good place to start is the Gottman card deck. It's free on Apple and Android. I'm not selling anything. This is free. It's a good app. Okay. The Gottman method is also sound and applies well to most issues and concerns. And there's a lot in the app, but specifically the card deck part, it'll ask good questions to gauge where you and your partner may be and where curiosity may lie. Really simple, open questions. The ones I like are simply, who is your favorite teacher growing up? And one that I'm shocked at how many couples don't know how to answer this, but it's, who's your best friend now? Like, things like that, just questions like you're curious, you're just scraping the surface, okay? So keep in mind, Gottman card deck, free, easy, lots in there for other things too. Use it at your own free will. Wow, that was faster than I thought. That's all I have. Nicole, for embracing change and transition and exploring the context of the past. Oh, if you are lost and you're frustrated as a couple or an individual, reach out for some help. It's okay. Um, Thank you very much. That was a lot of fun. I don't know why I was nervous, Nicole.
Oh, thank you, Jean-Luc. That was so helpful. Amazing. We have just a couple of minutes if there's questions, but first I want to say goodbye to anybody who needs to leave. And thank you very much again, Jean-Luc, and thank you all of you for joining us. We really hope that we'll see you again.